Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Spin Master in their DC Retro Collection line, we are featuring Batman Forever. Okay, so today is January 16, 2025, and it's crazy. It's really crazy that in the year 2025 that we're getting Batman Forever action figures. It's been 30 years since Batman Forever hit the big screen. Came out way back in 1995. In 1995, I was a freshman in college. So for me, 30 years to be able to revisit that time period is it's such a beautiful thing. I was at my local Target yesterday doing a grocery run, and I came across these figures in the toy aisle, and I was just completely floored. I was there, of course, looking for, some of the more premium collectible action figures, like, whether it was Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, or McFarlane's DC Multiverse. But I couldn't say no to these. This was a part of my youth, when I was in college. I was collecting toys even back then, and I was just so enamored with the Kenner and Hasbro action figures from way back in the day. And this just caught me off guard, and I just had to buy them. There was, there was a Riddler figure, but I didn't purchase that one, and I will in the future. And it was kind of interesting because the Riddler figure looked like, I might be wrong, but it almost looked like exactly like the Kenner one. I'm gonna have to go back to the store and grab that today if it's still there. But I really wanted, Batman and Robin. I wanted the core duo. And it's awesome. The package design work is a thing of art. Just look at it. This is a real throwback to the old Kenner figures with the black, the lime yellow, and green backdrop. The airbrush style artwork also is a throwback to the 90s. The figure itself is, just look at that. It's beautiful. It's the Batman Forever armor, nice shade of black. And then we have the Robin figure also. This is kind of curious. I'm not sure if this is based off one of the Kenner Robin figures, because the costume is a little bit different, especially with that strap running across his chest. But for the most part, I don't mind because everything about these figures feels like the 90s. Even the paint and color scheme with that kind of like green metallic finish, that feels very 1990s. And the size and proportions as well. On the back, here we go. We have some other figures. Like I said, the Riddler figure, it kind of feels like a throwback to the old Kenner one. Same with the Two-Face. I do have the original Kenner figures, and if I could grab the Spin Master ones, I'll probably try to do a comparison. And it's awesome too. They're, I'm salivating at the mouth because they're already teasing a Superman. So I don't know what's going on with this line, but it's awesome. One thing very surprising with Spin Master is that they kind of had like, some of their drops have been very surprising, and they kind of took me off guard. Like some months ago, this was maybe 6 months ago, there was a line of Spin Master figures that hit Target, and it seems like they only hit the stores just once, because none of my stores ever restocked on them. But they kind of got this like weird like line of action figures, the Dark Knight trilogy and Batman Returns. These were also at Target. These were celebrating 85 years of Batman. And like I mentioned, none of my Targets ever restocked on them. It seems like they just got one shipment in, and that was it. And the shipment included these two figures, and there was also a line of 12-inch figures, which I'll take a look at in the future also. But this really caught me off guard. It seems like they just re-released the Flash figure, but with the Batman Returns packaging. And the Bane figure, I think, was new. I don't think Spin Master did a Bane prior to this. So, again, Spin Master, seemingly have the collector in mind over the last few years. I've mentioned this before. When they first started, years ago, when they got the license after Mattel lost it, it kind of felt like their line of toys were going to be aimed more so at kids. But, as evident by the Flash movie, it seems like they started focusing also on the collector. They produced toys that with heavy emphasis on toys. They're meant to be played with. But at the same time, I think they upped their game in terms of the quality, presentation, and craftsmanship, where older collectors like myself could really appreciate what they're doing. And these figures just really exemplify that. Right, so enough talk. Let's get down to the action figures and take them out. Again, wonderful card backings, and I'm not going to feel so guilty about opening these up. You know, anytime I get the Kenner action figures from back in the day, I feel so bad about opening them because every time you open up a vintage figure, you're removing a mint figure from the population. But in this case, these are modern, they're mass-produced, and they're meant to be played with, so let's take them out. We have the Batman, and then we have the Robin. So yeah, it's awesome. It's 2025, and it's so cool to be able to revisit the 90s with these action figures. I really hope more companies take this route. Like, I know Super 7 has their reaction figures, and Hasbro, some years ago, they were dabbling with those smaller Marvel superheroes where they were kind of like 5 points of articulation with that retro design. Now, those are all fine and good, and I know people were gaga over them, but the thing that hurt the line for me, at least, is the price point. Those figures were very expensive for what you were getting. In the States, these are only $8.99, which is kind of, you know, it's not a bad deal, you know. Alright, so yeah, I feel like I'm back in the 90s. I really should be studying for my college exams, but here I am playing with my toys. And this is awesome. If, like I said, if you were a child of the 80s and 90s, and if you grew up on this retro style figure, especially if you had any of the Kenner Batman Forever figures, this is your jam. This is awesome. Let's take a look at Batman first. Wonderful looking figure. He's a little bit more barrel-chested and is really swole, but, you know, remember in the 90s, there was the Power of the Force line with the crazy jacked Luke Skywalker, and this just feels right. You know, it feels like this is what it's supposed to be. And the cool thing is they also updated the articulation and the arms. You know, even though this is a retro designed and inspired action figure, up here you'll notice that not only do the arms go up and down, but they also go outward, which is a nice addition. Unfortunately, there is no waist articulation and there are no knee joints, but I think that's very forgivable. You know, for the most part, they're really trying to give you that retro vintage style of action figure from the 90s, and I think they really hit their mark. Nice fabric cape. Very interesting how they did the a cape attachment also. How it's not just one solid piece wrapped around the shoulders and neck. You'll notice it kind of attaches to the shoulders and then like a quarter of an inch below the neck. I'm not sure if this helps to keep the cape straight, if it allows it to fold easier when you seat the figure into a vehicle. And speaking of vehicles, there are vehicles for this line also, and I'll go over that in a moment. But yeah, here's the Batman. Awesome figure. And for the height, you know, it feels just right, and I think I should have brought my Kenner figures with me, but I didn't have them on hand. But it feels like this is the proper height for this style of figure. And I want to say it's 4 3/4. Yeah, it's about 4 3/4 tall. And then here's the Robin. Let's take a look at Robin. The Chris O'Donnell Robin. So we're just looking at the Val Kilmer Batman. And it looks great. He has the 90s Robin logo screened onto his chest. He even has the 90s haircut. And I love this metallic candy green. You know, this is very reminiscent of what we got back in the 90s with Robin in terms of the action figure. Again, the articulation on this one seems like it's only 5 points. Interestingly enough, he does not have that additional shoulder articulation that the Batman figure has. Whereas Batman's arms could actually go outward, this one only goes up and down. So that's kind of unfortunate, but at least the Batman has that. Again, no waist swivel, no knee joints, but you know, this is really just trying to recreate that 90s style. And the cape attaches much like the Batman. Very interesting with the shoulder and then kind of like toward the below the neckline. And the cape's a nice shade of gold also. So overall, fantastic action figures. Like I said, these really caught me off guard, and I couldn't be more happy. And I did mention vehicle. Also available at Target here in the United States. This really like knocked my socks off. There's a Batman Forever Batmobile. Now here in the States at Target, this thing only retails for $19.99, which is a steal because the figures alone are only $8.99. So it's kind of like for $11 more, you're getting this Batmobile. And not only do you get the Batmobile, it comes with a Batman, which is, I believe, the much more, a little bit more screen accurate in terms of its presentation. But it's the same figure, essentially, as the other one. But you're just getting the gray silver costume. So, yeah, this is awesome. The year is 2025, and we're celebrating 30 years of Batman Forever, and Spin Master, they're doing it right. So, if you're here in the States, and if this is something that appeals to you, run down to your local Target and hunt these things down. And this might be something you might not want to pass up on. Like I mentioned, some months ago, they released this 85 years of Batman collection, and it was very short-lived. I never saw these restocked at my stores. Some of the local stores I go to, I think there's like 4 Target stores within maybe like a 20-minute radius of my house, and all the ones I went to, none of them ever restocked on these. They only got them once, so it could be the case for these Batman Forever ones also. So if you see these and if they appeal to you, don't hesitate, pull the trigger. You won't regret it. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.